Welcome to another episode of Shapes and Sizes. Today we're going to be making this robot. So let's hop into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this main cube as our head. So let's just go ahead up here and rename our cube to head. For right now we don't need our camera or our light, so we're just going to click on the camera, control click on the light, and we're just going to hit X and delete them both. So now we have just our cube here, the head. And I'm just going to scale this on the X while holding shift and just do it a little bit. Just like so, just to have a more of a rectangular head. Alright, now let's tab into edit mode, and what we're going to do first is we are going to add some little pieces of geometry. So I'm just control R and I'm adding loop cuts, and I'm just using my mouse to bring them over fairly close to the edge there. Kind of like so. So now I'm just going to hit 3 on my keyboard, Alt click these, Shift Alt click those. And that way you will collect all these faces. And now we're just going to E to extrude, S to scale, and I'm going to hold shift and pull it out just a little bit for some extra detail on this robot. So I didn't really need it done to the bottom, but it's all good. So now we're just going to add some eyes onto this guy. So, and we're going to tab into object mode, click out, we're going to shift A, I'm going to create a mesh, and I'm going to make a cube. And I'm going to grab this cube on the Y, bring it forward, and I'm going to scale it down to size. Judging by here, pull it over, and the X, and the Z, and put his eyes probably, yeah, right around there. Go into top view, and you can see that it's perfectly in there. I'm going to actually scale this down on the Y just a little bit, and yeah, make it a little bit smaller. Perfect, so I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to make sure that this front face is selected. I'm going to hit I to make an indent, hold shift, and bring it in a little bit, just like so. And then I'm just going to E on the Y, so extrude on the Y, and bring it in a little bit. Just like that. So now I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to top view, going to shift D. So I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to move it on the X over to the other side, around the same spot. So now he has 2 eyes. You can even make it into a little nose too, just a little one right here. So where you can just shift D, Z, and the Z axis, and grab X, so GX, and we'll move it over to the center there, and we'll just shrink it down a little bit, so that he has a little nose. Perfect. Now we can make a mouth. So all I'm going to do for the mouth is I'm going to make sure I am in object mode, and I'm going to click on the head here, and we're going to tab into edit mode. Now we're going to hit Control R, and we're going to make 2 loop cuts along the bottom. And I'm going to Control R, and I'm going to put 1 loop cut right around over here, and another loop cut around over here. You know what? Let's make it both as the like right on the eye. So we'll move that. I double tapped G there after when I selected. So when you hold Alt and click, and then that'll select everything around, you hit GG and you can move it wherever you want. I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom here. And just move that up a little bit. And this one here, I think I'm going to move that down a little bit. Just right about there. So now I have this face in the center. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to E on the Y and bring it back a little bit. And I'm going to hit I to indent to bring it in, E to extrude on the Y and bring it back a little bit, just like that. And that is the basic look of our robot face. So now we're going to create his neck part. Go Shift A, and we're going to add a cylinder. And the cylinder is good here. So I'm going to G, Z, and bring it down. And I want it to shrink just on the X and Y's, just to make it a little bit smaller, just like a neck piece, right? Just like a neck. So I'm going to hit S, Shift Z, and bring it in like so. And then you can actually scale it on the Z and make it smaller. Bring it right up in there. And there's his little neck piece. So this cylinder would be neck. And now we're going to create the body part. So let's make sure you are in object mode. Shift A, mesh. We're going to do another cube. So grab this cube on the Z, right about there. And all we're going to do is make it a little bit larger. Grab it on the Z down. Don't need it that large, I guess. Just a little bit bigger than his head. Doesn't have to be crazy big. And there that is. Perfect. Now I'm going to add a little bit of geometry to this. So we're just going to hit 2 to select our edge. Hit Control B, and we're just going to bevel it out. So we're going to pull back a little bit. Scroll up on your mouse wheel. You can make it like so if you want. I think that looks nice, like a chess piece. So now we're going to make his arm. Let's go ahead and we'll hit Shift A, mesh to a cube. And we're just going to go to first view. We're just going to make this cube a little smaller. Probably about there. And we'll scale it along the X to bring it out. Grab it on the Z and move it up a little bit. And there we have his arm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to hit Control R to create a loop cut. And I'm just going to right click to let it go. And I'm going to Control B to bevel it, and I'm just going to bring it out. Probably to about like 4 or 5 there, and we're going to leave that as that. And then now, I'm just going to hit O on my keyboard, and that we'll be using proportional editing. So I'm going to hit G and Z. I'm going to bring his arm up a little bit. I can increase or decrease this, so if I do that, if I want a little bit more curve to it, just enlarge it a little bit. And right there is his arm. Perfect. Now I'm going to grab it all, I'm going to hit 1, and I'm just going to rotate this up and bring this down. For this, I'm just going to turn off proportional editing by hitting O. Bring it in, you want to bring it up a little bit, right about there. And right there you have his arm. So we're just going to rename this to arm. Now tab into edit mode. We're going to hit 7. We're going to Shift D. And then we're going to hit R to rotate it. We're going to rotate at 180 degrees. And we're going to grab it along the X and bring it over here just like the other one. And there you have it. He has 2 arms ready to go. So again, with the neck piece selected, I'm just going to go into top view, and we're going to hit Shift D to duplicate it, and I'm going to move it over here, kind of like his leg. So I'm going to rename this to his leg, and I'm going to go into front view, and I'm going to bring this down on the Z axis, and we're just actually going to scale this up. I'm going to scale it to be about that big, and then on the Z. And you know what? Actually, let's go a little bit smaller. Let's go back. Scale Z. And we'll grab this on the Z and bring it down to about there. Okay, we're going to grab this leg and tab into edit mode. I'm going to hit 3 to grab this face. Kind of want him to look like he's sitting down. So what I was thinking about doing was just kind of going around over here and with his legs kind of like out over there kind of thing. Yeah, so I think that that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go into third mode view and I'm going to grab my cursor. I'm going to put my cursor. Well, I'm going to bring this up a little bit more, so I'm going to probably put it right about here. And I'm going to make sure that I have the face selected. And in third view, I'm just going to grab it on the Z and bring it just right about there. I'm going to move this to front view so that we can center our cursor. And then third view and make sure that is in the front. There you go. I don't know a quicker way to do that yet, but I will eventually. So with that there, I'm going to now come over to my spin tool and we are going to spin it along the x-axis. So I'm just going to spin this right about there, right at the quarter mark. And now with my main cursor selected, I'm just going to extrude this along the, along the Y. Something like that. And then we're just going to bring it back down. So, with the cursor selected again, just going to bring this down a little bit. And I want it at the very front. Sorry, I want it down about there. There you go. And now we're just going to bring his legs down. So again, we're going to go to our spin tool, and we're just going to drop this down to about there. And back to mouse, extrude on the Z. Oops. And there you go. One leg kind of done. Perfect. So now I'm going to tab out and I'm going to hit 7. And we're just going to shift D along the X on the other side. Whoops. That looks silly, doesn't it? So we're actually going to control both of these. 7, we're going to actually rotate it 180 degrees. And there you go. A little better. We can actually grab this along the Y and just kind of move it forward. Grab along the Z, make a little bit inwards, I guess. Kind of looks silly without having a bum, hey? I mean, if you really wanted to, I guess you could just grab these on the Z and just kind of move them upwards, like so. And then he looks like he's actually sitting on his bum. I like that, that's very cute. You could add another thing out here for his foot, or you can just make a foot. Yeah, you know what, let's just make a foot. So we're going to make his feet next. So in object mode, we're going to hit Shift A, Mesh, and we're going to use a cube. So up, and I'm going to grab this on the Y, and I'm just going to scale it down. And I want to scale it along the Y, make it a little blocky. And let's hit 1 to bring this up to his feet, kind of like so. So his cube 4 will be foot, and then Shift D on the X and move it over to the other one. And there are his feet. So let's go ahead and let's start coloring this to make it look good. We can do the same thing for his hands. Actually, yeah, let's give him hands. So in object mode, Shift A, Mesh, Cube, and we'll do the same thing. So hit 7, grab it on the X, grab it on the Y. I'm just going to shrink it down a little bit larger than that. And we're just going to grab this and move it up. And we'll rotate it a bit too. Kind of like so. Perfect. So now, Shift D, X, and move it to the other side. And then we're just going to have to rotate it the other way. So yeah, now let's color him. We're going to tab into Edit Mode. And we're going to head down towards Materials. So our first material, this is going to be for his head. So we're going to name this Silver. And with Silver, we are going to go down to our base color here and bring this down a little bit, and we're going to make it a teeny bit metallic. You know what, let's make it all metallic. So now, with his whole face, let's click and I'll see how it looks. We're just going to hold Z, go head down to material mode. And with that, our face is looking kind of metallic. A little silver. Let's add it, make it a little bit darker, actually. I think so. You know what? Yeah, let's go with that. Now I want to color his little wraparounds that I brought out here earlier. So I'm going to hit 3 to hit the faces. Alt Shift click that. And we're going to go to material slot. I'm going to hit a new. And this one I'm just going to make it red. Red or blue. I think either one would look pretty good. But I'm going to make it a red over there. And I'm just going to hit assign. So then that is what his head would look like. Perfect. So I'm going to tab out of edit mode and I'm going to go to his eyes. And I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to hit 3 to select that first face there. And we are going to make this one, I'm going to hit new. And we're going to make this one blue. So base color, blue. And it should be automatically assigned. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for these two. And just make them both blue. You can get into a little bit more detail if you really wanted to. So you can alt click on this. And we're going to make it a different color. I'm going to go with yellow. So yellow. Rename this to yellow. And we're just going to hit assign. Let's see how that looks. So we'll do the same thing here. Alt click to get that edge around. We're just going to hit assign. Tab out, nose, tab in to edit mode. Click around that, plus material, yellow, assign. And there you have it. Three things done. Perfect. His mouth, I'm going to actually create that as white. So I'm going to make the inside. I'm going to add a new material. This will just be white. And I'm just going to click assign. I think that's silver color. I think I might change that. I'm going to take the metallic off. You can make it whatever color you want. This is just what I prefer. And I'm just going to make this silver. Same with his arms. And we're just going to make it silver, silver. His body, you can add some more detail to it if you really wanted to. So again, you would tab into edit mode, hit Control R, and you can do the same thing. Kind of make him look like he's wearing a vest or something, right? And the same thing you can do, right? You can just scale it out. So ES, scale it out a bit. And then you can assign it a color. And I'm just going to add in the second color of red. And hit assign. Of yellow. And hit assign. Make it look like he's wearing like a safety vest. And then you can do the same thing to his like arms here, right? So his 2 arms, his feet. And once when you have everything colored and the way you want it to look like, and now we can just save it. I'm just going to skip over this part, but I'm just going to color his feet and stuff. And now what we're going to do is we're going to join everything together into the head or the body, whichever. So I'm going to click, shift, click on every single piece that is here. With his, usually with his head being last. I'm going to hit Control J, and that will join it all together. Oh, his neck piece wasn't in. So I'm going to click his neck, shift click his head, Control J, and join that. I'm just going to name this to Robot. And there's your little robot guy. Now we're just going to set the origin. We're going to right click, set origin, and we're going to set origin to center of mass. So this will put it right in the center, and now you can make it look smaller, larger, you can rotate, do whatever you want. And there you have it, your little robot guy. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.